Hi, David Pintaric with William Moore Pintaric and Associates, a financial planning and wealth management firm in beautiful Youngstown, Ohio. I want to talk today about goal setting and how we set somebody up on a process of achieving those goals. And to be quite honest with you, it's a basic process. It's not very complicated once you know what the secret sauce is. And I have to tell you from experience, I did this when I was very young. I got in the business when I was 25. And you start understanding some of the concepts, and it's all simple math. I think a lot of times people get afraid of money because they think the math is complicated. It's really not. A basic calculator will accomplish most everything you need to do when you figure out what things are going to be in the future. We're going to do these based on a few assumptions. One of them is an 8% rate of return on your money, which I think is reasonable but not guaranteed. And how to get that is simply take whatever you're starting with. Let's say $10,000. That's going to be our bogey initially, and if you want to know what it's going to be worth a year from now at 8%, assuming we can get 8%, you just multiply it by 1.08. And if you want to do that for 10 years, you do it 10 times. Every number 10 times 1.08. And what that does is give you the effect of compounding. I can tell you that multiplying 1.08 times for $10,000 for 10 years will give you $21,500. So we know that in 10 years at 8%, whatever you have to start with is going to be worth 2.15 times in 10 years. And this is just what I used to do when I was young. I used to have a calculator by the nightstand in bed, and I'd start thinking about what I'm going to be worth when I started at 25, when I was 35, when I was 45, when I was 55. And you start doing those math, and I'd smile because I got started young. Let's start with a goal of accumulating $100,000. And let's assume we've got 20 years to work on it. There are two ways to accomplish that goal. Accumulating wealth is very much like buying a house. And we're all familiar with buying a house, where you put some money down, your deposit, it's typically 20%, and you take anywhere from 15 to 20 to 30 years to pay off the house. And at the end of that period of time, you own your house. Well, accumulating wealth is very much the same. You do put some money down if you have some, but you pay monthly. The difference is the interest that you're paying to the mortgage company. A mortgage is going to be paid to you on your investments in the form of either growth or income dividends or capital gains, that kind of stuff. So how do we start? We've got 20 years ahead of us. How do we get to $100,000? There's two ways. Let's assume that you're going to start with $10,000. Go and buy compound interest tables, and again, you can do this yourself. We're going to use a computer. You can either do it on a handheld computer calculator, or you can go to a spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet, and do it. But we know that $10,000 at 8% is going to grow to about $46,000. So that's going to leave us short of that $100,000 goal. So that tells you if you want to get to $100,000, you're either going to add more than $10,000 into it, a little bit more than 2 times that. If $46,000 is 46% of that, so we need about 2.1 times $10,000, about $21,000 will grow to $100,000 in 20 years, assuming that 8% rate of return. But if you don't have $21,000 at the front end of this, can you invest on a monthly basis? And absolutely true. And that's really where the power is. If we put $100 a month into an investment that earns us that 8% assumed rate of return, how much will that grow to? Now, $100 a month, that's $1,200 a year. At 20 years, that's $24,000. That will grow at 8% at $56,000. So the combination of the $46,000, $10,000 grows to, and the $24,000 that you invest at $100 a month over that 20-year period of time is $56,000. So we're above our goal of $100,000. That's a simplified way of achieving that goal. So now we just talked about a 20-year time period, and I'm going to do both a 30 and a 40-year example, and we're still going to use $100,000, but you're going to find that that's not going to be enough. But the reason why I'm doing this is it shows how important it is to start early. So we can go with the same formula, same programs, and use 8%, we know, and I've got a piece of paper here, that if you put $100 a month away for 30 years, you can invest, again, $1,200 a year for 30 years is $36,000. At 8%, it's worth $140,000. That's why I say $100,000 may not be enough if you're starting early in life. Okay, but let's add that $10,000 to the mix. $10,000 over 30 years will grow at 8% to $100,627 over your $100,000. So I would tell somebody, if $100,000 is your goal and you've got 30 years, you need to have a higher goal. So let's look at 40 years. And this is where I get really excited when you've got somebody that just started their adult life, they're 25 years old, and they're just getting into things. If we can get them started, the sky's the limit. $10,000 at 8% for 40 years, we grow to $217,000. The kicker is if you get them investing $100 a month for that 40-year period of time, and this is becoming just like a lifetime of investing, you're $48,000 invested. Remember, it's $1,200 every year. Will grow to $322,000. If you combine these examples of 20, 30, and 40 years, you'll see that the earlier you start, the much better it's going to be. And one thing that I learned early in life, they talk about the eight wonders of the world, the pyramids and all this kind of stuff. The ninth wonder of the world is compounding interest. It's a very, very, very powerful tool. And once you learn how to harness it, it could make things very, very good for you financially. So I hope this gives you an example of what can be done. And again, these are based on $100,000 and $10,000 and $100. Any of these numbers could be manipulated as because they're round numbers to the goal that you need. If it's $250,000, you multiply everything by 2.5. If it's $1 million, multiply it by 10. But it gives you an example of how we work with the numbers. And it's a simplistic, but it's also powerful tools to help you set goals and reach them. I hope this has been helpful for you. Thank you.